So for people who don't know, Lonerbox basically cooked the fuck out of Drew Pavlou, obliterated him, and Drew Pavlou just began spurging out like an autist. Okay, like he literally began spurging out, like actually had an autism meltdown. It was so fucking embarrassing. Holy shit. Yeah, it's really good content though, because Drew Pavlou just fucking loses his mind. He like it's the same kind of spurgouts like back when Steven debated like random fucking anti SJWs during Gamergate, like the Gamergate debates. Like it kind of reminded me of that, like the old fucking race realist debates and shit. It's really good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that should be Ahmed. I'm gonna send
Listen, I don't care if Lonerbox doesn't want to rebuild a bridge with me. Doesn't matter. All right. I'm still gonna simp for him, even if he hates me. Okay. I'm not hurt by it or anything.
you the
All right.
the original article was taken down by Rochdale Online. So I'm going to send you the original article that was taken down, and then I'll send you as well the book that I cited.
No, I don't know.
But to be fair, it was 9 months ago, so I
So wait,
don't
this
have
so this isn't from court transcripts, like you said, right?
it was reported by journalists who were in the courtroom.
Okay.
Okay, Drew, we're gonna have to learn you how to Discord.
Because I recall someone calling.
I thought he was demi-friendly towards you. What happened? I think okay, this might be a little weird to say, but I think he admires the way that I defend Destiny. Okay, I know that sounds incredibly cringe. That sounds like not real. That sounds like a cope. But I kid you not, this is literally what I was thinking when I was watching him. Like whenever I get brought up for whatever reason. Here, I'll show you guys what it is. I saved it. How long have you been watching Destiny? 5 years, 6 years. I don't know.
Foodshops fighting with Willie Mack on Twitter.
This is current opinion, I guess.
Holy shit! Has Foodshops become like she's become like the big Destiny defender now. She does. She does like to pick the impossible battles. She does like to pick the difficult ones, doesn't she? Because before that, it was defending Lolly, right? Or rather, defending her own enjoyment of Lolly. What a fucking champ! To be fair, that was actually one of my favorite arcs ever. Was watching her on. It was on Wick, just taking caller after caller and debating them on her love for Lolly and just mogging the shit out of all of them. That was brilliant. Will you cover the video by Lindsay Ellis? Why?
Yeah, like he glazes. That's a glaze. That's a glaze, okay? But I just don't think he'll ever connect the bridge, just mainly because, like, I don't know, I'm just too close to Destiny right now to reconnect, because you might as well reconnect the bridge with Destiny directly at that point, right? I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'll listen to that later.
One of the victims a white slag. I don't recall such a categorical statement as "I did this because I am racially superior," but we can see.
I put the links in the group chat for you, Lonerbox, if you want to check them out. Okay, as we check those out, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, right? And
what book is this from, out of interest? Sorry.
Yeah, well, I told you that because I haven't. This was at 9 months old. I don't have the book off the top of my head. I'm trying to find the original source.
Okay.
What can you just?
What are they even debating? Drew Pavlou is like fucking virtue signaling, like all fucking like retard race grifter that talks about UK politics and UK immigrant shit, right? Like he just constantly talks about, oh yeah, it's the rape gangs, it's the grooming gangs, it's the X and Y, and Lonerbox just fucking cooked him on that because like Drew Pavlou has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Furthermore, like the way that Drew Pavlou described it was that all of these like fucking immigrants coming in is like great replacement and genocide, right? Like Drew literally described it as genocide. And that one was much funnier to me personally, just mainly because I have done some research into like the definitions of genocide and stuff like that. And yeah, Drew Pavlou has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Like just absolutely no clue whatsoever. Like absolute fucking moron. But yeah.
Why can't you just tell me what the book is?
Absolute shameless grifter as well, by the way. All right, 180'd his take, by the way, after Charlie Kirk. Completely 180'd, financially beneficial, obviously, as well, to 180 your take to get onto the sympathize for Charlie Kirk train, right?
Yes.
And then you know what really completed it was when I saw Drew Pavlou live streaming him going to a Charlie Kirk vigil. Oh my god, what a fucking retard!
I don't know the book title off the top of my head because it was many months ago. I'm trying to find the original book title. But I did send you the original Rochdale reporting that has unfortunately been taken down offline. The news article was "My only crime was to be Muslim."
The quote here that from your book is just him saying, "We are the supreme race, not these white bitches," and he points to the police officers.
Hang on, I've got it.
This is not him saying that he was racially motivated to commit these crimes. Like,
okay, I've got as. Hang on, should be a.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to the stream if I put this on. So.
Yeah, at his trial, in front of the judge, jury, and journalists, the child rapist declared, "We're the supreme race, not these white bastards. You destroyed my community and our children. None of us did that. White people trained those girls to be so much more advanced in sex." He worked for Oldham Council.
Well, I'm gonna read the quote that you tweeted. Okay, it says, "Quote: We are the supreme race, not these white bitches," pointing to the police officers in court. He continued, "You will not get a CBE. You will not get an MBE. You will get a DM, a destroyer of Muslims. You were born 1,000 years too late. You fucked my community. You destroyed my community and our children. None of us did that. White people trained those girls to be so much advanced in sex. They were coming without hesitation to Rochdale, Oldham, Bradford, Leeds, Nelson, and wherever." He said the jury in Liverpool has been taking instructions from BNP leader Nick Griffin, and later pointed to Rachel Smith, who prosecuted both cases about the Crown, saying, "I curse you at night. I curse you and your family. You will understand," pointing at Judge Kokar. "I curse the juries. I curse the media. And most of you bitches, your family will get it."
So it sounds like it also says, first of all, he's not actually saying "I did this because." He's not like declaring a motive for a hate crime. It's also not to mention that it also says one of those convicted addressed. It doesn't even say that this was the leader. So you lied about two things there. I don't know why you can't just quote.
I didn't lie about it.
You did. You embellished it. You literally added in words. What are you talking about?
No, it didn't. No, this is reported in multiple news sources, and I'm sending you the news sources right now. Manchester Evening News. The original article was taken down by Rochdale Online.
What, did they quote something different besides this? Did they actually quote the ringleader and not one of those convicted? So why? Okay, so if the quote's the same, why? You think this quote?
Yeah, remember to like the stream. But it's not that big of a deal now. Now that I'm like just removing all my YouTube VODs. But you know, it's good to do it. Still, I think in the moment
demonstrates like genocidal mindset, and this is a hate motivated crime rather than a sexual opportunist motivated crime.
Yeah, obviously donations are also good. Why not your Kick VODs? Because Kick wouldn't give me random fucking strikes and warnings for no fucking reason.
Well, this is what he said.
Answer the question. Is this point to you? Does this point more to you?
He said that he was the supreme race.
So really, you're asking this guy, why did you rape these vulnerable women? And you're taking this quote and you're choosing between he did it as a sexual opportunist or because he felt like he was in service of his racial superiority.
You thought you were removing because of the court shit? No, that was a separate reason, but I removed them anyway.
You can't even let me finish the sentence.
Here's the judge in the Liverpool trial. Clifton dismissed the gang claim that there was no racial or cultural element to their crimes. He said one of the factors leading to the abuse of their victims was the fact that they were not part of your community or religion.
What's the context of that quote? You don't even know the context. You don't know the context of that quote.
Even the judge said it.
Okay,
even the judge said
you can keep repeating yourself, so I'm just going to tell you what the context of that quote is because you don't know what it is. You don't know what the context of that quote is. The context of that quote is, as I mentioned earlier, from the J report and everything else. It's when they were mentioning the fact.
No, this was Clifton.
This
was the judge. This was the judge who sentenced Shabir Ahmed.
I'm talking about a report that is talking about the case. So can you let me talk?
Okay, but I'm just saying though, the judge who sentenced Shabir Ahmed.
Yes, I know the judge said that. You just don't seem to understand why he said that. The reason that was said, and the reason that's why they are categorized as sexual opportunists, is because when they were doing what they were doing, they were driving around, they were looking for girls to prey on. They did it at night in a place.
If we shot DG here, a small amount, okay. I think most of DEG really hates me, but you know, it is what it is.
Where most of the people were white and where Muslim girls were, or other groups, other ethnicities were mostly going to be indoors at that time. They were sexual opportunists. They targeted those people because, yes, you're right, they looked down on them, but also because they were there. That's why. It's not minimizing, by the way, for chat.
I've got it. I found the source. Manchester Evening News reports that it was him, Shabir Ahmed, who said that the rant in the trial.
We're not talking about the source. We're talking about your inability to process information. We're talking about the fact that you are so desperate to act as if this guy wouldn't have done it.
Yo, I see my homies in DG. Okay, crazy radiant tree. Yeah.
We're not like a white victim because it's motivated by racial superiority as a hate crime.
The judge said that.
The judge did not say that racial element is not the same. A racial element is not a hate crime. Why didn't the judge make it a hate crime?
I don't know why the judge didn't make.
Why did they don't like you, dude? I'm like, you either love me or you hate me. There's no such thing as a neutral opinion on me. Okay, either you find me annoying or you don't like the fact of my previous dramas or any of the beefs that I've had or the fact that I shit on your favorite Destiny Orbiter. So, you know.
It's hate crime. All I know is that
because maybe that would be too explosive. He could say it's a racial element.
Maybe it would be. Well, maybe it would. I mean, Shabir Ahmed is already back on the streets, isn't he? He's not. He got. How long did he even get? Like these guys weren't necessarily given the book. I was jailed for 19 years, but he's going to be out. He's going to be out in about 8 years. Like he's already going to be out in about 8 years' time.
So is that an immigration issue? Or is that a criminal justice issue?
Actually, hang on. 2013, he was sentenced 19 years. So yeah, he's literally going to be out in a couple of years. So you're saying,
oh yeah, like the immigration crime statistics is like apparently really complicated because the way that like I think over the course of this debate, I also did some research. The way that conservatives like framing the data is that, oh yeah, you have a bunch of these people per capita committing more crime, but I'm pretty sure it's like if you try to match out like the age groups, it's literally about the same. Where it's like people who are younger in their 20s and 30s are more prone to be committing crimes of opportunity, like crimes in general. But like it's not different from one or another, right? Like crimes committed by white people and native people and in that same area is about the same as the people who are immigrating to Britain and and they're like committing crime around the same amount. But if you look at the overall statistics, then yeah, it's going to seem a little unequal and you can bend the statistic to your will, right? It'll look like the immigrants are committing more crime, but in actuality, it's a distortion based off of isolating age groups. You have to isolate the age groups because otherwise you're not presenting the data in the most accurate manner, right? Now, I could be wrong because I really don't know all that much about UK immigration. I don't know all that much, but I understand data. Okay, I've studied that shit. Okay, and it makes sense to me. So, yeah, just let me know. Okay, let me know if I'm missing the story or missing interpretation of the data or anything like that. Sadly, the way that conservatives use data is that they also like playing upon people's lack of understanding when it comes to statistics, because
a martini, shaken not stirred.
If you read this, you are gay.
Yo, thank you for the 50 Australian, dude. I mean, it's only $2, but I appreciate that. Just kidding. No, seriously, I appreciate that. That's a lot. Thank you for the 50 Australian. But yeah, they try to prey on the lack of information and the lack of education in order to spread disinformation. Not misinformation, disinformation, right? But Megu, thank you so much for the 50 Australian. Seriously. I think that's like $34 or something. Yeah. Thank you. Now look at US crime statistics by race and age group. Yeah, but are you isolating for income? Oh, you're right. We had to isolate by single father families and single mother families.
How come the judge wasn't harsh enough to make it a hate crime? Well, the judges have been pretty weak on them anyway.
What?
And I've got the quote.
Wait, pretty weak compared to what? You understand that in the UK, we typically our life sentences are typically short, right?
77 years.
Wait, where? Sorry.
Sorry, maybe I read it wrong. Says the judge says as he jails Rochdale sex gang for 77 years.
Oh no. So that's the cumulative total of all the people. So it's 77 years across like 20 people or 15 people, however many people were involved in the.
Yes, Ahmed was given 22 years, and I think it was like
Alarm clock?
2 or 3 counts of
Ahmed?
rape and then
Alarm
another
clock?
count of.
It says 19. It says
abetting.
in Manchester Evening News. It says 19 years, but
Yeah,
it does also say in the same article. It says in the
He
same
was
article that he
convicted of
rented in
30
court that he was a
counts of
supreme
rape.
race.
What? But you said the judges were. You said the judges were soft on this guy. What compared to what? Compared to UK standards, or?
I mean, just in general. I mean, I don't think 19 years is good enough. It should have been life in prison at the very least. I mean, in Australia, we had a grooming gang case in Sydney, and basically they got life in prison.
So that's a criminal. You understand that's a criminal justice issue, right? Not an immigration one.
Yeah, that is. I mean, yeah, but the only reason they're in the country is because of immigration. So it is an immigration issue. Of course, it is.
Okay. $10 or £10, I should say, from Average Joe to say, I'm worried as a secular Brit, the projected increase of Islam in the UK long term, much more socially conservative, less women's rights. Where Islam is a majority, it dominates the culture and society. Response to that, Lonerbox?
Britain is currently 6.5% Muslim. We were, 4% Muslim 15 years ago? Their birth rates within the country.
Start converting early so then you can be spared from your beheadings, okay? Remember, convert early to Islam, okay? Inevitably, all right? So then you don't have to worry about the public beheadings later on, okay? Good luck.
Are dropping. We have pretty strict standards for immigration now. Obviously, being in the EU might have been better if you wanted migrants to be more similar.
Oh yeah, you know what's also funny is that like Drew Pavlou couldn't describe what was inherently bad about a majority becoming a minority, even though that happens throughout history so many fucking times, all the fucking time, forever. Okay, like that literally happens so much. You have no idea. Okay.
Shaken, not stirred.
Foodshops is an honorary buddy. Keep up the streaming, laughing face.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you so much for the $5. That's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Inshallah. Yeah.
Similar to us. But, you know, you can thank Nigel Farage for that, the guy that is probably going to be Prime Minister next. Again, we've had immigration waves before from groups that were significantly different from us. When the Irish came to the UK, they were very different from us. They were so different that we had sectarian riots. They were literally perceived as a...
There's so much worse. It's so much more culturally
I'm just going to keep... Sorry, I'm just going to keep talking because you're just going on an emotional rant. You don't fucking... Even when I made that joke about sectarian violence in the UK and you acting like that's new and I laughed, you didn't even know why I was laughing. You clearly don't know anything about this country that you've just taken an interest in. No, I'm talking about the immigration waves from the fucking 1800s. Okay. Yes, Irish people were treated and perceived and they were described as a distinct race. They were seen as a different race by the people who lived here.
Okay.
Wait, I heard about that, but like, didn't like Destiny say that in his debate against Jontron back then? But that was for the United States. Was this specifically? Was this specifically for? Did it also happen in the UK? Irish people?
I still think that Islamic migration to Britain is much more culturally dissimilar than Irish migration to Britain. So if even Irish people were seen as irredeemably foreign, it took 200 years for them to assimilate, then how do you think it's going
Irish were seen as subhuman here too by many. Thank you. Okay, I got
to work with Somali Islamic extremists?
Well, it didn't take 200 years for them to assimilate. And also...
Oh yeah, hold on. I want to show you guys something funny, okay? So if you guys do not know, okay, Lonerbox is perfect. Except the fact that Lonerbox has a bridge with Queeman. Not good, okay? But you know, let me see if I could find that.
I'm still yet to see the evidence that any majority of British Muslims are not assimilated. Majority of them, the overwhelming majority of them, are not committing terror attacks or...
Oh, so true, dude. So true. Very assimilating.
No, qualify it then instead of giggling like a little fucking fanny. Like, come on, tell me.
Like, because...
Call them a fanny.
Because, like, okay, let me get up the Pew Research data into attitudes in the British Muslim community. You know, a majority of British Muslims basically think that there were no atrocities on October 7th.
What?
Do you know that quite a lot of like white leftists in the UK think that as well?
Fanny.
Yeah, I know, but they're unfortunately.
Oh yeah, here. I thought this was pretty entertaining to see. Okay. Yeah, I thought this was pretty entertaining to see. Yeah, real quick. Okay.
So obvious.
It's basically Queeman bitching about how Lonerbox's chat fucking hates him. Like Lonerbox's chat fucking hates Queeman, even though they have a bridge with one another, and Lonerbox doesn't correct them. Wait, is it the chat or is it like literally on stream? Because the thing is that like I'm pretty sure Queeman's chat also fucking hates Lonerbox. So it's like their audiences like mutually fucking hate each other. But like nobody is. It's like it's not like I'm sorry. I don't know. It's just like this just whining. You know, just here.
So apparently Lonerbox is mad at me right now. I didn't see the clip, but apparently he said I was being snark brained about him because I made a joke in JStock's chat about his father being involved in war crimes, which isn't true, obviously, but I joked about it because a bunch of people were on his stream lying about me again, and he wasn't saying shit about it. It's just like we just sit there and try and stillman this fucking retard knuckle dragger Lawson Harrison, fucking mentally disabled fucking loser, along with his dipshit editor. No, sorry, not editor. His dipshit editor is Stardust, who is a scum, just, you know, worthless piece of shit.
Is Lonerbox's editor actually Stardust? I believe Not So Erudite's editor is Stardust. I think, right? And I believe Stardust also edits for, yeah, so she works as an editor now. But yeah.
But Spider is all I meant. You know, these fucking just total retards. Just
Sure, okay.
either lying or sitting there
The Stardust? Yes, the Indian one.
and nodding along. So I made a joke about him in JStock's chat. Yeah, I know he runs
that what
a
happened,
clip channel.
yeah?
That's what I meant. David, $5.
A fun.
Dude, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why the fuck Queeman is saying any of this. Okay, alright, maybe I should cover this later in its own dedicated segment, okay? Because I just want to say real quick, I don't know why the fuck Queeman is bitching about any of this, just mainly because Queeman shat on Lonerbox all the fucking time while being connected on stream. All the fucking time on his stream. Like, he literally watches Lonerbox, makes fun of Lonerbox, denigrates him, alright, for playing World of Warcraft, and for having a boring-ass stream, right? Doing nothing but shitting on Lonerbox, and meanwhile Lonerbox has literally said that Queeman is like one of the few people who listen and is genuinely willing to learn about, like, Israel versus Palestine. So, I don't fucking know what's going on, alright? But these hoes are gay, okay? Alright, I just want to say that real quick. Okay, sorry. Maybe I'll cover this later, actually.
Unfortunately, part of the country. Of course, you're always going to get white leftists.
So what, if we're talking about assimilation, what, is that not then like assimilating to what is like already like a white leftist view in the UK?
He is? What?
No, not at all. Because
She's
they're being motivated by Islamic extremism. They're not motivated by white leftism.
How do you know that? That it's by Islamic extremism? How do you know that? Have you seen the way that these protesters talk, even the Muslim ones? Some of them talk with Islamic language. A lot of them talk with secular language. A lot of them talk like with Soviet-style propaganda on Israel.
It's tribal. It's tribal.
Tribal is not the same as motivated by Islamic extremism. Them having opinions about October 7th.
No, this is the disaster. I'll explain to you the disaster, right? Even for more secular Muslims who are therefore more assimilated, you get the Hassan Pikers of the world who, like, they come to it from a left-wing perspective, but they...
Lonerbox knew he wasn't serious? Dude... Yeah, but the problem is that, like, for people like Queeman, like, they like to blur the lines between reality and ambiguity. Like, they like to make it ambiguous. Like, you can't tell whether or not they're serious or not. Behind every single joke, behind every single tease, behind every single piece of comedic line or anything like that, there's, like, a kernel of truth. And sometimes there's, like it's just completely serious sometimes, right? So the thing is that, like, I'm sorry, it's just, you shouldn't be given that, considering how you have unironic cancellation campaigns for Destiny, right? You shouldn't assume that because you're taking stuff seriously and you're weaponizing that ambiguity to your own game, right? So yeah, I don't know. Like, this is why, like, it's like Lonerbox is completely justified in insulting Queeman. Yeah, of course. You shouldn't be able to hide behind humor like that.
Still end up supporting Hamas and Hezbollah and all these insane terrorist groups. So that's a huge problem.
We're talking about Muslims in the UK who
I know, but I'm
their...
giving you an example. Like, a good example of this is Zara Sultana. Zara Sultana, I don't think she's an Islamist necessarily. She's a leftist, but she has this kind of tribal. But she has this tribal attachment to like Hamas and Hezbollah and all these Islamic extremist groups.
Yeah, and you'll notice, by the way, that the majority of them do what about that? They protest, some of them commit hate crimes, but like the majority of them.
I've got the data. Half of all British Muslims think homosexuality should be illegal. 23% want Sharia law. Beautiful. Like you think this is assimilation?
One Sharia law. What does that mean?
As like the main law of the land.
No, that's not what that means. Necessarily, no.
Okay, you think they just want Sharia law for ceremonial weddings and stuff like that?
Well, who did they vote for? Muslims.
52% said that they want homosexuality to be illegal.
Who did they vote for, Drew? Who did they vote for?
Oh my God, 4% said that they sympathize with people who took part in suicide bombing. So what's 4% of 4 million people? That's still what, like 100? That's more than 100,000 people who sympathize with suicide bombings.
Like, I'm sorry, are they gonna go around and like fucking start like fucking bombing like Gramps and Pops and like all these fucking fanny stores and bomb the fucking local tea shop? Is that what's gonna happen now? It's gonna be a fucking crystal knocked for fucking British white people. Like, are we seeing that? Is there a rising politician with a very like suspicious mustache that's like rising in Britland?
That's fucked up.
Again, what are they doing? What is any substantial number of them, like past like 1 or 2% of them doing? What do they do? What does the average Muslim in the UK do?
Okay, this is a really good point. Okay, this is a really good question. Do you agree that the 4% of British Muslims who sympathize with people who take part in suicide bombings?
Bro, dude, Drew Pavlou is the kind of motherfucker where if he ever actually lived in, like, wherever he lives, if he sees anyone with an ounce of melanin above 5 mgdl, okay, he goes to the other side of the street. He will jaywalk, go all the way to the other side of the street to continue his path, okay? Because that is how afraid he is, okay? Or maybe he's not afraid because he's grifting, okay? But, like, the thing is, like, this is the way that Drew Pavlou comes off to me. Like, he comes off as someone who is perpetually terrified of being groomed. I'm sorry, are you a little white girl? Maybe you want to be, okay? But too bad,
At least that 4% should be deported.
For having sympathies with someone, I don't think you should deport someone for thought crimes, no.
For sympathizing with suicide bombings. So you feel safe living in the country where, like, what, there's 150,000 people who believe in Islamic suicide bombings. Do you think that's good? That's assimilation.
You said sympathize. Yeah, I don't think you should deport someone for saying they have sympathies in a poll.
So 1% said that they completely sympathize. They actually full outright support it. So that's what, 40,000 people out of...
Did you go from sympathize to fully outright support it?
No, so here's the point. It said 1% said they...
You're just like adding... I love how you just like add adjectives to things that you're saying.
I'm reading it out to you. I'm reading it out to you. 4% of British Muslims surveyed said that they sympathize with people who took part in suicide bombings. 1% said that they completely sympathize, while 3% said that they sympathize to some extent. 4%, and then another 4% said that they sympathize with people who committed terrorist actions as a form of political protest generally. So what?
I don't think he's on the grift. He's earnest in his beliefs. I would normally say that, but the thing is like, dude, what he chose the most opportune time, financially wise, to do a complete 180. That's crazy. You're saying that he went from being a neoliberal to being a right winger in one day? What? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, I just don't see any clues whatsoever indicating that until that day. Okay, that's crazy to me. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's like at least 100,000 people basically who sympathize with the action of terrorist attacks in the name of Islam.
Yeah.
Do you think that's assimilated?
How many...
assimilation?
I think the fact that it's 4% actually does suggest assimilation. Thank you. How many Irish people...
Beautiful.
Oh my God. For people who weren't here yesterday, you guys missed the best part of the crash out. When Drew Pavlou literally said he did so much for the Jewish people. Like, he literally said verbatim that he did so much for the Jewish people, and everyone should be thankful because he did so much for the Jewish people. And fuck me. He also said to Lonerbox, oh yeah, we Zionists. And then Lonerbox was like, wait, we? What the fuck?
Beautiful, dude, beautiful. 4%. That's still 100,000 people who believe in Islamic terrorist attacks. Do you think that 100,000 people... Surely you should at least agree with me that 100,000 component should be deported. Anyone who supports suicide attacks should be deported.
No, I'm not deporting people just because they answer questions that are
just because they support suicide, because they... Oh my God, dude. You're actually suicidal. You actually want people to live in Britain as foreigners who support Islamic terrorist attacks. That's fucking mental.
Yeah?
Bro.
You think we should deport Irish people? Do you think we should... So there are Irish people in the UK who sympathize with the IRA?
Irish people who support that. Yes, I genuinely do. I hate
who sympathize with the IRA. Yeah.
Yes, I actually genuinely think that.
That's a lot of deportations for opinions.
Good. Anyone who supports the IRA.
I just want to say Drew says that he is patriot. Okay, he says he's the patriot, despite like saying that, oh yeah, we should deport people based off of whether or not they support the IRA or not. Okay, like wow, great stuff, Drew. Thank you.
They should be deported.
Okay, do you acknowledge that that's a fairly illiberal opinion to deport people for opinions?
I want to have a liberal for opinions, for supporting terrorist groups, dude.
It's
I
an
want to have a liberal
opinion.
democratic society. Yeah, no, it's not just an opinion, because when people support terrorist groups, they're fundamentally saying that they hate the state, that they want to overthrow the constitutional order of the country.
Well, yeah, when was the last time we had a suicide bombing in the UK?
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it then. There's only...
It's almost like it's an opinion. I don't even know. It's almost like it's in their head. Yeah. How many people in the UK like sympathize with fucking Nazis? How many people in the UK sympathize with the IRA? How many people in the UK sympathize?
Let's go through this. Let's go through this. This is so fucking smart, okay? Let's go through this. So Jihad al-Shami goes out and he stabs a bunch of Jews at the Jewish synagogue in Manchester. Based off those statistics that we found of the polling of the British Muslim community, and let's be real, who's really going to answer an opinion poll with their real beliefs and tell them that they support suicide attacks? So of course it's an undercount, but let's just say
it's an undercount now. It's probably 50%.
No, it's not 50%, but it might be as high as 10%. But even if
10%. Oh, 10%. Wow, 10%. 10% of 4%. So 10% of 4% of the overall population. Okay, all right, great. Okay, so you are a moron. You are a retard. You are an inbred, okay? I am surprised that you can even talk and speak the way that you are right now. All right, you are probably using AI to do the arguing for you, okay? AI, how do I simulate being a fucking retarded, moronic conservative who talks about UK politics and immigration all day, right? Like, oh my god, dude, this guy is so fucking stupid. I swear to God.
Okay, even let's go on the... Let's even go with the most conservative. Let's say 1% of British Muslims agree with what Jihad al-Shami did. That's still 40,000 people. And you think it's fine for 40,000 people to live in your country who would theoretically be fine with people going out and just stabbing...
Do you think I said it was fine, or whether or not...
True! Daniel's right. You cannot lead the retarded horse to the water. You have to bring the water to the retarded horse. The retarded horse do not know how to interpret the water. You have to... The retarded horse has a tumor in the head, cannot know the fucking water. Alright? He's the retarded horse, okay?
You should deport them.
Of course they should be deported. If they want to go out and stab people in the street, of course they should be deported.
And I guess this also includes deporting second-generation migrants to places that countries they've never been to. 100%.
I don't care if you're a second-generation migrant. If you believe in killing Jews in the streets of Britain, you need to go.
Yeah, and do you expect all these countries to take these deportees? You need two.
It doesn't matter if
you need two sides to take a deportation. Drop them off. Explain.
Yeah.
Airdrop them on a parachute.
All European states, all the America, NATO, there should basically be a NATO-like alliance where these countries that refuse to accept deported citizens, there will be massive economic pressure on them to take them back in. So if they don't take it back if they refuse to take back deported citizens, then we're going to have to consider things like, for example, suspending foreign aid, these types of things.
So we're going to suspend foreign aid. So say like a Sudanese...
Just it's so funny to me that Drew Pavlou hates China so much for its lack of free speech and shit like that, and he literally complains about it himself. But then on the other hand, he is literally advocating for like thought policing. So yeah, like again, like there's an inconsistency there, right? Like all roads lead to China, I guess. In this case. Like what happened to a lot of the previous, like what happened to most countries who has advocated for anti-free speech laws, right? Or like, oh yeah, thought policing, where if you say something about the king, then you'll be killed, right, in front of the public square for like fucking smack talking the king, right? What happens to all these kingdoms? They die, okay? There's an uprising. There's a peasant uprising, okay?
Second generation migrant writes in a poll, this is your scenario, he writes in a polling question, I've got sympathy with Second Intifada suicide bombers, right? Sympathy.
Yeah.
And then we deport them, and Sudan says no, and we say, okay, fuck you, we're going to take away foreign aid to the people who are starving in fucking Zamzam.
Well, there's going to be basically about 30 European, it'll be a coalition.
And this is all because it makes you uncomfortable to think that we might be less white.
No, it's not about whiteness at all. It's not about whiteness at all. I just don't want people who support suicide bombings.
You brought up white British, by the way. Yeah, but what I'm trying to figure out the practicalities of how you want to action this. So...
Well, I'm explaining it. I'm literally explaining to you. There will be a coalition of the willing of about 30 plus Western states. And collectively, we will say that as a condition for trade, as a condition for foreign aid and all these things, you have to accept refoulement of citizens of people. And we know that Pakistan accepts citizenship by blood descent. So it doesn't matter if somebody was born in Britain. They will still have to accept them.
That's one country. To be clear, not every country does that. Bangladesh didn't let Shamima Begum back because she's never been there, right? So it's not refoulement, it's deportation.
deportation. If you
Also,
have to deport them to third-party countries,
you're not getting
that's
also
potentially
you're struggling to get coalition of the willing for any Western group right now. So let's just make it about the UK. It's just the UK with our limited power in the world doing this.
It will. No,
Loner triggered? Really? Yeah, I would also be triggered at, like, fucking Drew Pavlou's stupidity, okay? I'm sorry, but in this one, Drew Pavlou looks like the person who is the most triggered, okay?
it will be a coalition.
Wait, we're talking about British policy right now, okay? Let's say it's the UK.
I'm saying this will,
What if you can't? What if you're the only one country that wants to do this? Because it seems like even with Viktor Orban's Hungary, even with countries that are more right wing than us, they don't do shit like this. So you're going very on the extreme. We're going over the fucking cliff now.
I'm not extreme.
We're so far right. You're leaning further right than someone who's just had their fucking right leg blown off, Drew. So you are alone in this.
It's not far right at all.
Drew Pavlou's
This is a moderate option. This is a moderate option.
Drew.
Good ban foods. I think, dude, you can tell that was a bad Epinata fan, okay? Like, I can tell right off the bat, like, the way that they type, the way that they talk, like, you can tell, like, that was a bad Epinata fan, okay? Yeah. Like, don't you have, like, children to go rape or something? Like, doesn't that, like, what bad Epinata fans go and do? Like, don't they just, like, have a bunch of CSA and record CSA films and distribute them or something? Just like their eDaddy? Go away.
Pavlou's UK is alone in
Okay,
this.
one at a time.
Okay, let me explain. Deporting people who agree with suicide bombing attacks in the country of Britain is the moderate solution.
Which country does
That's
this?
the moderate
Which country deports people because they answered a question in the opinion
What's the
poll?
extreme solution?
The extreme solution, I don't want it to happen. The extreme solution will be, if it keeps on going on this way, there's eventually going to be horrible violence and civil war, and I don't want it to happen. So I'm presenting the moderate solution.
So the extreme solution is to kill them.
No, that's not what I'm supporting. I hate that. I don't want that. I'm saying that's what the extremist psychopaths want to do. I don't want that. I'm just saying let's have deportations before civil war breaks out.
Okay, do you acknowledge that no Western country is currently doing this?
Yes, but it will be happening over the
I need you to engage with me like an honest human being and...
Yeah, it's going to happen over the next 10 years.
I need you
the
to...
winds are shifting a lot. The winds are shifting a lot. Look at me. I changed a lot over the past year.
Yeah, because people were mean to you on Twitter. I need you to address me like a real human being. I need you to engage with me like a real human being, Drew, and tell me if you were just the UK and you're the first country, you're leading by example, how do you do this?
You work with all the European countries.
No, they're saying no, they're not doing it. Just the UK.
No, that's a stupid theoretical because it is actually happening.
Okay, wait, so we can't. So are you refusing to answer that? Are you refusing to answer that because the UK couldn't do it?
I'm explaining to you. The right wing shift is not just alone to Britain. It is happening all across Europe. There will probably be a Le Pen government soon in France. There's going to be a coalition of the willing between multiple different Western countries that will agree on mass deportations of Islamic extremists.
We already have right-wing countries that do that aren't doing this, though. Orban's not doing this. Poland had Kaczynski's government. He's not doing it.
Well, they don't even have Islamic extremists in those countries because they don't have any Muslim migration at all.
They do have a non-zero number of Muslims in those countries. So
I know,
actually, Hungary had quite a lot of Muslims passing through that country, and some of them stayed. So.
It's extremely small, as we both know.
Well, we know the thing is, we know what Hungary did, don't we? We know that when they had asylum seekers and refugees coming through Kalati station, we know that Orban actually just kind of nudged them on into Germany to the west with no vetting, and one of them carried out the Bataclan attacks. One of them was actually recruited because he was stranded in it because he wasn't vetted because Hungary did what you want to do, which is to just make it someone else's problem.
No, it's not Hungary's responsibility to vet them. It should have been done as soon as they entered the EU. It should have been done. There should have been a European-wide border force. That's what I think should have been done.
Well, Europe can vet people, but since they didn't, they were in a country where the government had the power and the capabilities to do it, or to just make it someone else's problem, right? Because that's the reality. Because that's the reality. Because
I don't even like Viktor.
What you don't understand though is that we have a European Union, and the European Union did not like having a bunch of Syrians coming into the continent in 2015, especially when a bunch of these governments that were liberal had to deal with this because they were going to get kicked out by right wingers. They understood that this was a problem for them. You still got fuck all cooperation from them because that's what happened. And when
Well, it's the Greg Abbott way of doing things, right? Just make it someone else's problem and then blame them. Just airplane all the migrants to New York City and then say that New York City has an undocumented immigrants problem, okay? 500 IQ.
You've got your deportation policy. You will also get fuck all cooperation, which is why I'm begging you to tell me how you would do this as the UK without other European countries helping you.
Because 2030 is different to the year 2015.
Are clips of this severe beatdown going viral? It should go viral, in my opinion, okay? Drew Pavlou does not deserve a platform. Yeah. And he doesn't deserve any attention either, except by people who are less clouded than he is, or unless it's a clip that fucking condemns him fully, okay? Because this guy is, like, legitimately farming. Every day, he's, like, farming, like, he tweets like a maniac. Like, he tweets, like, once every 15 minutes or some shit. Like, it's crazy. Throughout the entire day. Bro is a farmer for that X money, for that Elon Musk pocket money, dude.
It's just true. It's just true.
Because you can predict, you can predict 10 years or 5 years into the future. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It's going to
yeah.
It's going to. Okay. Do you think that things are going to get better? It's not going to get better.
I think we're not going to have an unprecedented cooperation of European countries who are all going to sanction the shit out of their trade partners and their countries that they're often allied with, or even.
Neither does Lonerbox when he can't apply his immigration philosophy to Israel. That's where you're wrong, because Lonerbox literally said that Israel is in such a unique scenario where it is surrounded by a bunch of enemies that, yeah, you're going to have unique laws for that one specific case study, and it is reasonable to do so. But that doesn't apply, obviously, to Great Britain, and it doesn't apply anywhere to any European countries where that's not even remotely the case, okay? So the fact that, Israel is even brought up in the context of this is retarded.
Commonwealth countries, because they won't accept people getting deported for answering questions in an opinion poll, for taking millions that would be of deportees, if we're talking about Europe and America as well. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's reasonable to assume that's not going to happen. So I'm just trying to say, let's assume one country does it. That's a radical claim.
I think Islamic extremists are going to be deported. And you'll have to explain to me how the current situation of letting 40,000 people remain in your country who support Islamic suicide bombing attacks against you.
I'm not letting you slither away from this very simple question. I am asking you.
Just explain how that is.
Stop it. You're slithering. You're refusing to answer a very simple question.
Both of you.
All right, Nick. Go back to Hasan's chat, okay, where you'll be buried and forgotten, okay? You do not exist to me anymore. You are nothing. You will build nothing. You're nothing to me. Bye.
Drew.
Explain how to status quo.
Drew thought Lonar is Jewish throughout the course of this convo. Mm-hmm.
Drew. I would like you to answer Lonerbox's question if you could.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's not going
He's not going to do it.
What if it doesn't? Engage with the hypothetical. What if it does not? What if it does not meet the threshold, for various reasons, no one else wants to sign on to this plan? In that case,
maybe you'll have to pay. Maybe you'll pay a third-party country to take them in. And maybe there'll be some.
What country are you going to pay to take deportees who have never been to the country?
Yeah,
and you said you've deported them because of wrong think, basically.
If we're not wrong think, they're people who support suicide bombing attacks.
Okay, Drew, I have a question.
Drew,
I have a question. Real quick.
Egypt is always keen to take in people who.
Hold on. Drew, hold on. Both of you, please. Drew. Okay, you pay a country. You say what country is going to take these immigrants and these deportees from us? Russia raises its hands and says, "We'll pay you, right? You can pay us, and we're going to send them as fodder against Ukraine." Do you take that?
No, that's a stupid theoretical. Obviously,
that's a stupid theoretical. But the coalition of the.
Why is that a stupid theoretical? Russia is literally utilizing North Korean troops and Chinese mercenaries to go and fight Ukraine. Bro, actually just fuck me in the ass. Holy shit. Dude, this is crazy.
Willing that's going to do an unprecedented policy of forcing their allies through sanctions to take deportees because they answered survey questions. Okay. Wait, you're the one who's being unreasonable here.
Can you explain, Lonerbox, how it is a justifiable situation to have 40,000 Islamic extremists in the...
I feel like I'm just playing fucking world builders now at this point.
No, just explain why there are 40,000 Islamic extremists in Britain who support suicide bombing attacks against Britain. Just explain
because they're here because we need immigrants, and some of the immigrants are bad. Yes, and because some immigrants are bad, you cannot take any section of any population and have them all to be fine. You're always going to have between 1 and 2% of them who have problems, which seems to be all it is with Muslims in the UK. That's why you've got 40,000 out of 4 million people. Yes, and also because you cannot deport people because they answer questions you don't like on an opinion poll.
That's so funny. You actually think that it's acceptable rate for about what?
Dude, it's so funny to me. It's actually so funny to me that Drew Pavlou says that oh yeah, it's probably misrepresented because people aren't being honest. But then he literally gives the reason why people aren't being honest. Yeah, of course. When you say that you want to deport people based off of their beliefs, yeah, no shit, people are going to be dishonest, okay? Because they're afraid of motherfuckers like you trying to separate them from their fucking family and their children and all of their friends and family from the place that they probably spent years and years growing up and fucking being employed in, just simply because you are judging them based off of their fucking ethnicity to deport them to somewhere god fucking else, to the fucking Ukrainian front lines or some shit, because Russia is gonna buy them off as cheap frontline fodder or some shit. Yeah, what? You are the problem, okay? You are the problem. You are the problem, okay? You are the problem.
1 in 100 people that you bring into the country to support suicide bombing.
He would literally not have this opinion if his melanin level was above 5 mgdl.
Attacks against you. You think that's an acceptable rate? That's fucking unhinged. Go out to one of these post-industrial English towns and go to one of these poor English white working class towns and say, hey, listen, 1 in 100 of the new immigrants we bring to the country might be suicide bombers one day, but we can't stop that because we need immigration.
Wait, but might be suicide bombers one day. Again, opinion polls. That's what we're on right now. We have not. When did we last have a suicide bombing in the UK? We haven't. Not for a long, long time, have we?
Oh, the last one was what? The Manchester Arena bombing where they killed 30 kids.
Yeah, and that was actually. Do you know why that happened?
Atrocity. That was a massive atrocity.
Yeah, and that actually happened because of a very avoidable thing. That's because we were taking that family, the Abadi family, and our government basically fucking tried to weaponize them in Libya and gave them vouched and free access across borders so that they could basically go to Libya and learn to build fucking bombs. That's not immigration policy though. That was the British government being fucking absolutely brain dead and underestimating and basically trying to weaponize extremists. Like that was what we did there. That wasn't to do with like a badly vetted immigrant or anything like that. That was like a very, very unique case for why that guy was allowed to be in the UK.
I mean, it was a badly vetted immigrant because they let the family in as refugees and then they raised 2 kids who then did suicide bombing attacks against kids.
That wasn't how they got the capabilities though. It's because we weaponized them in fucking Libya.
Yeah, but they still were in the country as Islamic extremists.
But that's not why they were able to do the attack.
They were brought to these guys were Islamic extremists. They brought them to the country. They raised their kids as Islamic extremists, and then they carried out an attack.
Why are you just leaving out the most significant, unique fact about that case? I don't know why you're doing that. Why are you retelling the story after I've just told you the main reason they were able to do what they did?
Okay, great question. So obviously we live in the scenario, we live in the world where those 2 young guys were able to build the bomb and carry out the attack and kill 30 people. But let's imagine the scenario where they were not technically skilled enough to create that bomb, but they still harbored enough hatred for the English people that they had in their heart the willingness to go out and kill 30 people because they hate them so much. Do you think they are still a good migrant to the country?
No, of course. We're talking about people who are taken in as who come in illegally and you can't deport them. Yeah, we're talking about asylum seekers. That's not why do you think I would ever make the claim that asylum seekers are supposed to be for economic benefits? You have no idea where you are in this conversation. You are completely fucking lost. You're a mouse in a maze.
You don't have to take asylum seekers.
You don't have to take asylum seekers.
Yes, you don't have to.
None of them. So the Ukrainians, the ones from Hong Kong.
Well, we like Ukrainians and Hong Kongers. We don't like Islamic extremists. That's the difference.
Well, we're not talking. Well, so we don't take.
Is it just simply because like they're white? Is that the reason why? I mean, you might as well just be straightforward with it, right? Like, hello? It's because they're white, aren't they?
Any asylum seekers from any Muslim country then? Afghanistan? Even people who supported the Afghan government?
Maybe religious minorities from these communities who are persecuted by the government.
So not Muslims.
Well, maybe
Shiites in Iraq are minorities.
Maybe in an extremely rare circumstance where they've been extremely vetted. But you can't allow just the willy-nilly situation that has taken place where there are now people in the country who literally want to do suicide bombing attacks against the West.
Okay,
Wait, do you think...
Okay. No, go ahead, please. And then I have one
this
more
guy's
super chat.
so pathetic.
We're going to get to closings, but go ahead. You had something to say, Lonerbox?
You want me to say something? Oh, yeah.
No, you were about to ask a question.
I mean, you can. If you're saying we also don't even take in asylum seekers, as far as we know from crime stats, if you care about those, asylum seekers generally commit a little bit less crime than locals. And it makes sense.
That's why there's been these rape cases related to the migrant hotels.
Yes, because you're going to get more than 0, you fucking retard. Yes. That does not mean that they have...
Also, why the fuck do we place so much emphasis on fucking rape cases, right? Like, what? Like, why the fuck do we do that? Like, you don't care about the murders? No, you just notice how nobody ever talks about murders. Nobody talks about murders. They only talk about rape because that's what they want. Conservatives love raping, okay? The favorite thing of conservatives is rape play, rape fetishes, raping kids, raping everything, okay? Their churches rape little boys, okay? The thing that they're addicted to is rape, all right? They are rape addicts.
Higher crime rate. Does that? Sorry, wait. Does what you just said contradict what I said? Does what you say contradict what I said?
No, but here.
No. Oh, that's all I need to know.
Here's my answer. Here's my answer. There shouldn't even be one fucking case, you fucking retard. Why would there be even one case of rape from an asylum seeker in Britain? It's a choice to have them in the country.
This is $10 from Goat Cheese Re. Drew, should Australia get down to an arbitrary Greek population because bad empanada exists?
Oh, great. Sorry. Great.
I don't want Greek communists in the country. If somebody's a Greek communist, I don't want them in Australia. I don't care if they're the same ethnicity as me. I would want Australia to keep them out of the country and deport them.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
I straight up said this. Seriously, I would literally support the Australian government deporting bad empanada. 100%. Even though we're the same ethnicity, I don't care. I don't want them in the country.
You're no better than bad empanada at this point. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The communist, he hates people. He's a communist who hates the state and supports Hezbollah and Hamas. I would literally support his being deported. I don't care that he's Greek like me.
So we're deporting citizens as well?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah?
In the most extreme cases. In the most extreme cases, yes.
I can't imagine any flaws in this logic of just making like tens or hundreds of millions of people in the world stateless. Like, it's just fucking amazing. Nothing bad will happen when we do that. What country do you put Bada Banada in? It would be, if you were going after people like, if you're going after citizens who you think are extremists, that is going to amount to hundreds of millions of people in the world. Yes.
No, I would only do it for the most extreme cases, and I think Bada Banada is one of the most extreme cases because he's outright openly calling for mass genocide.
Would it be tens of millions?
No, it wouldn't be tens of millions. I'm talking about literally like in Australia, it would be dozens of people. In Britain, it would be a couple thousand people. I'm not talking about millions of people.
Really? There are only dozens of Australians who support like Hamas and suicide bombings and shit like that. Really? Only a few dozens? Or are you just kind of like softening your position now because you've realized how fucking mental that sounds?
No, like it's different because Bad and Panada he's unfortunately part of the majority population of Australia. He's unfortunately part of the majority population of Australia. It's a bit different to somebody who's like a really recent migrant who's like a Somali Islamist extremist and stuff like that.
I mean, the world is full of migrants, and you seem to have a very low threshold for wanting them deported to the point that they can answer a survey question in a tribal way that supports violence. So that's like a lot of Irish people. The Irish are getting deported. A bunch of Muslims are getting deported.
Dude, by your own, you pointed this out to me. You pointed out to the fact, you said to me that it was a great
Oh my god, this guy's like an absolute fucking wanker, dude. Holy
moment
shit.
of assimilation that more than 95% of British Muslims rejected suicide bombing attacks. That was your answer. So
Yeah,
I'm not
but by
talking
your-
about,
well, by your- hang
I'm
on.
saying a small minority. I'm saying.
What if
the
I
people
asked,
who want actual suicide bombing attacks.
What if I asked the British Muslims if they think October 7th was good? Would you get more than 4%?
Yes,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah, you get a lot. Those protests are quite busy. Yeah. Would you deport them for that?
I do think that people who support October 7th.
Okay, so you want to deport millions of people across the world. You want to make up millions of people stateless.
Explain why the fuck they're in the country if they're Islamic extremists. Explain why they're in the country
Because
if they're
some
terrorists.
people are extremists. Of every population, there are some people who will be extreme. Once upon a time, it was the case with the Irish. There are still Irish people who support the IRA. They're allowed to stay in the country, though.
Here's the question. Hey, Lonerbox, were there Islamic terrorists in Britain in 1920?
No.
Yes, so it's a recent phenomenon. You don't have to have this in the country. It's a choice.
Yeah, it's almost as if different ethnic groups go through different phases in history where some of them become more radical than others. That's why our problem for terrorism before Muslims was Irish people, our next door neighbors.
Just explain. There were no Islamic terrorists in 1920 in Britain. Why is that the case?
Because there weren't any Muslims, Drew. You're very clever, yeah.
But I'm pointing out it's Islamic terrorism.
Dude, don't you know that like Muslims literally invented terrorism? Wow, makes you think, don't you? Don't you know that Muslims literally invented the concept of suicide bombings? I guess the IRA was super peaceful, right? The IRA totally didn't kill some 15-year-old teenager girl with their fucking London, like, downtown bombings, okay? They did, by the way.
Is an imported problem to the West. And I've got no problem with Muslims who assimilate. But people who support Islamic terrorism have to go.
But your threshold for you want to reduce.
My threshold is
wait. So why don't you think we should let in? So why shouldn't we let in? So we should let in asylum seekers then from Muslim countries, Syrians, Eritreans, Somalis.
Wick flag getting droopy again. Yeah, that's what I call that's called symbolism. Okay.
I mean, only if they're the most extreme vetting possible, where we absolutely know that they're not Islamic terrorists.
Yeah. What do you think we do if we find the asylum seeker is a terrorist?
They don't do any vetting right now. What the fuck are you talking about?
They don't do any vetting. Are you
kidding? There was a guy in Britain recently.
You don't know how any of these systems work. You don't know how these systems work. You don't know how these systems work.
You're retarded. There's a guy in Britain recently who's literally been charged with rape. He was an asylum seeker in one of these asylum hotels. He's been charged with rape, and he was convicted of terrorism offenses in Egypt. Do you think that's an example of vetting, Lonerbox?
We have had a backlog of asylum seekers under the Tory government where a lot of people were having delayed processing and were between an initial screening and interviews.
Okay, if you can't process them, then don't let them in. If you can't process them, don't let them in.
Well, we are processing them. That's the problem. It's not Labour's fault that the Tories weren't processing them quickly enough. But again, even if do you acknowledge now that even if you process people, you are going to have people who slip through the cracks? Do you acknowledge that?
Agree that do you think that the 40,000 people in asylum hotels in Britain should be deported?
No.
Why? They're not legally in the country. They should be sent home.
Oh, how do you legally claim asylum in the UK?
You don't go through 30 different countries to claim asylum.
Do you not? How do you legally claim asylum in the UK?
I'll tell you. Asylum should be. This is how it should be done in the future. It should be limited only to countries that are right next to Britain.
Yeah. How should
just conveniently all the widest countries? Like, what the fuck are they fleeing from? Like what are the countries surrounding Britain like fleeing from? Welfare, like social safety nets. They're fleeing from like social safety nets. They're fleeing from the lack of crime in these nations. They're fleeing from free fucking healthcare. They're fleeing. What are they fleeing? They're fleeing from long waiting lists for transgender healthcare. I guess like like what the fuck are they fleeing from?
What law says that?
That's the law that they should make it.
He
They
wants
should
to
change
make
So
it.
you
the law.
so you acknowledge that that's not the law, right? So
Yeah, but the
are they
current
here
law-
illegally or
the
not?
current law should change.
Are they here
Well,
illegally
yes,
or
they
not?
are here.
What is he
No,
They're
how,
illegal
talking
by what law?
Dude.
Because most of them are
He's
not
so
real asylum
stupid.
seekers. And I'll tell you
No,
why.
that's actually
I'll explain
false.
why.
Most of them
I'll
are
explain-
real asylum seekers. Most of them
I'll explain why.
pass their
I'll explain why.
applications. You just
Okay,
lied.
is Fran-
Three-quarters of them,
Is Fran-
three-quarters of them
No, I'm not.
succeed in their
Is France-
applications.
Is France a safe country?
But that's not the law. Three-quarters of them succeed their applications.
Why? Because the British asylum system is too weak right now. It doesn't even properly vet
Okay,
people at all.
so you
That's why
acknowledge-
they're-
okay, so you acknowledge that it's not illegal.
People who are in France are not at real immediate risk. There's literally no reason for somebody. Actually, this is a good question. Do you think that there's any justifiable reason for somebody to travel from France to Britain for asylum seeking?
Yes.
Why?
But just
France is a
hang
safe
on.
country.
You're dodging one question, though,
He's so
first of all. We can talk about safe
angry, dude.
countries if you
Oh
want.
my
But
God.
I need you to acknowledge, you're not saying it's illegal then. You're saying it is legal right now, but you'd like it not to be. If you want to claim asylum in the UK, there are two ways you can do it. One is you can arrive through a temporary visa and claim when you're here, but you can also just be in the country, and it doesn't matter how you got here. You can come in on a boat, you can swim over, you can fall out of a fucking plane.
No.
You have to be in the country to claim asylum. It's not illegal migration. It's not. It's asylum seeking.
The dinghies. Do you think the dinghies are justified then?
Yeah, it's legal asylum seeking. Yes.
It's not legal. That's why
It is
British are
legal.
trying to
Why do you think
bring it back.
they?
It's
Why
not
do you think
legal.
they? Why do you think they get granted asylum if it's illegal?
Yeah, well, maybe the current system's retarded, but realistically, it should not
No,
be happening.
Well, just say that you're against asylum in general. Well, like why? Like if you care about like the British white being like a majority in this country, I mean, here's the thing: there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It is just really weird and a massive crimson flag, I guess. But the thing is, I mean, if you care about that, why the fuck do you even want to be for asylum in the first place? Like, it sounds like you want to have your cake and you eat it too. But I think I just don't think Drew Pavlou even like fucking cares about having immigration in any form, right? Like, because if you truly do find like an issue, I don't like, yeah, I don't, it's just so stupid. Sorry, this is just like really retarded.
Reason we have, do you know, can you think for 1 second? Okay, just stop. Okay, breathe. I need you to think. Why would any country, because actually most countries do this, the Refugee Convention does this. Why do you think a country would say that sometimes
Britain should
if
lead
you
the
want to...
Refugee Convention.
I'm
Britain should lead the
just
Refugee
trying to ask you a question, Drew. Calm down. I'm trying to ask you, why, can you just think of
Dude.
one reason why the Refugee Convention, and most of the world would agree that if you want to claim asylum, sometimes you have to be in the country to do it. And it might not be through a legal route to initially get here.
You can literally just change. You can easily change Britain's domestic laws. It's
No,
very
I'm
easy.
asking you why. You said, why is it? You said do you think that law is retarded? I'm asking you, please think of a good reason for it. I just want to see if you can use your
I know
imagination. Why?
Oh,
Yes, because
thinking? One step at a time for Drew, okay?
Britain is an island.
No, not because Britain is an island. Why would
Well, Britain's an island.
refugees, why do you think refugees, I'm maybe just giving it away now, why do you think refugees, people who are fleeing war, persecution, why do you think they might be in a position where they can't just get a temporary visa and fly over?
The EUCHR and the Refugee Convention were built in a world when people were where that was designed for this. It was built right after World War II, and it was designed for people going from one country that was in conflict to immediate safe haven. There's nothing in the Refugee Convention that says that somebody should be allowed to country shop and go through 50 different countries until they get to Britain and say, this is where I'm seeking asylum.
You
If
just
they were
completely
safe
dodged my
refugees-
question. If you want to get to safe countries, we can, but I'm trying to get you to this question. Why do you think the Refugee Convention and most of these countries that take in refugees that are party to it would agree that sometimes you cannot be expected to just fly over in a temporary visa? Sometimes you might come in through an irregular channel. Yes? Why?
Because you're a
Yes, thank you. Got it. Mashallah, Habibi. Okay, so your next question is safe third countries, okay? Your next question is about first safe country, yeah?
Here's the thing though. It can be so easily abused by just young men who are economic migrants. And that is what is happening.
Is this content just meant to make me feel better about my IQ? Yeah, it's just Lonerbox like bullying someone with Down syndrome for like several hours. Great stuff. You know, I believe this is ableist.
Unfortunately, that is
But
what
no, it's not, because they're vetted and most of them succeed in their applications.
Yeah, but dude, the current British vetting system is so weak.
You know,
that you're
what's the vetting
literally
system?
allowing-
Can you describe the vetting system to me?
The vetting system is that people like Jihad al-Shami's father can come into the country and then raise a son who becomes a terrorist while supporting Hamas and supporting October 7.
How long ago did this guy come into the country? You realize that our asylum system has been
He came as a refugee.
modified.
He came as a refugee.
Do you realize how long ago?
He came as a refugee. And
How
also-
long ago?
I'm not sure, mate. 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, so
Oh my god, Lonerbox using his Chad masculine voice. Hello?
So before we made a bunch of changes to our asylum system and increased vetting, 50, 20 years ago, when we were just coming to terms with fucking terrorism and shit, yeah.
The increased vetting that results in a guy who's literally been convicted in Egypt of terrorism offences to be able to go to stay in an asylum-seeking hotel in Britain and then go out and rape somebody and then be charged for that.
Do you think there is, out of 40,000 people, most of whom commit less crime than locals? Yes. We have hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers in the UK. You understand that they commit less crime on average than locals. You understand that there's no such thing as a perfect vetting system. Drew, is there such a thing as a perfect? Is there such a thing?
That's a point in my favor. That's a point in my favor. The fact that there is no such thing as a perfect vetting system means that you're just gonna have to shut down this stuff.
Shut down this. Okay, you want to shut down this stuff and do what with them? So we see a small boat in the sea. What do we do to it?
Send it home. Return it back to the shore, which is what Australia did. We have boat turnbacks. I'm not talking about shooting them. Boat turnbacks. That's what Australia did. It worked.
Yeah. How do you know it worked in Australia?
We did it for 15 years in Australia, and we literally still tug the boats back to Indonesia.
Yeah, and are you also? I'm guessing you're also aware that part of that Operation Sovereign Borders policy is that people who work for Operation Sovereign Borders, it is illegal for them to disclose information about their work to anyone, even to Parliament, to the government. Do you also recognize that, despite them saying that their policy resulted in 0 border crossings, it didn't, did it? They stopped counting the boats. They didn't stop the boats. They stopped counting the boats. You still had people in Cocos Keeling. You still had people in Saibai. You still had people in North Queensland. You had people who actually made it round the routes into Australia. Yes, this is true. I know this because someone from Operation Sovereign Borders admitted it, didn't he?
No, there's basically only been like one boat that's even made Australia.
That's not true. That's not true at all. Hang on. Where is it? Where's the guy? It was the guy who spoke to Kim Carr.
Kim Carr's a communist as well.
It was Michael Outram. Okay, tangents. It was Michael.
Kim Carr's like literally communist.
It was the guy who was talking to Kim Carr. Pay attention. It was Michael Outram. Michael Outram, the acting commissioner of Border Force, guy who was on Operation Sovereign Borders.
How am I still top embed on DG? There's nothing Destiny here. Where's the Destiny?
We get illegal arrivals in Australia at the border all the time and have done for many years. It's because they're mandate. No, he's talking about arrivals in Australia, and those people go into Australia and get processed in Australia. No, Operation Sovereign Borders is mandate. You're just okay. I know the truth hurts. It's embarrassing that I know your country better than you do. Yes, Operation Sovereign Borders didn't cover everywhere.
Tell me the exact number. Tell me the exact number of boats that have arrived in Australia.
We don't know the number because Operation Sovereign Borders won't disclose it.
No, there's literally.
It's because they won't disclose it.
No, that's not true. That's literally a lie.
I'm just reading it right now. Here, I'll send it to you. This is from the transcript from the government.
If it was happening, no. If it was
this is from government transcript. This is from government transcript. I know it's obvious. That's why.
I know this because I'm Australian. I know this because I'm Australian.
Oh, you're watching all the borders at the beach. What a fucking stupid.
Dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know what? No matter how depressed I can get some days, I'm just glad that I wake up and I'm not Drew Pavlou. Holy shit. Oh my god. I am so happy. Oh my god. Thank you, God, okay, for giving me a streaming career. Holy shit. I'm so happy I have a streaming career. Holy fuck. Thank God, okay? So that I don't have to grift like Drew. Holy shit. How many of this left? Not long. Okay, a little bit long. Fuck me. 30 minutes?
Good thing to say. What an insanely fucking answer.
You're actually fucking retarded. What I was going to say to you is this. Because I'm Australian and I follow the news in Australia, I know for sure that the only time that there's been a significant boat that's...
But I like looking at you guys. You guys are probably good looking. I mean, I hate on DGG a lot, right? There's no but.
Gotten through is basically one time in the past 3-4 years.
Okay, quick question. Very simple question. Does Operation Sovereign Borders cover the entire border of Australia?
It covers basically the
answer is no. The answer is no. No, it doesn't actually. It's not the entire maritime area. And this is Michael Outram saying it as well.
Also, here's another point. Your nitpicking about Australian Operation Sovereign Borders is so retarded because Australia has to basically cover so much more water mass, whereas you're literally just basically dealing with Calais. It's so much easier. The English Channel is like 30 kilometers across at Calais. It's so much easier to turn the boat.
Are you just trying to pivot now because you realize that you got caught out being completely fucking wrong about Operation Sovereign Borders?
No, I haven't. I haven't because boats
Wick, just control F all the time. From Michael Outram.
When was the last time a boat made it to Australia?
Okay, so Michael Outram says, no, Senator, no. We get illegal arrivals in Australia at the border all the time and have done for many years, as you know. The reason Operation Sovereign Borders was set up was not to deal with Papua New Guinea. As I articulated, it has to do with people arriving on the high seas, primarily out of Indonesia.
Yeah, I knew that already. What's your point about this?
You said no boats got into Australia. I'm not fucking. I don't have a short memory. It's not, don't gaslight me, Drew. Come on, Wick. You heard that. You heard him say no crossings, none, zero.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like a very small trickle. But what we're talking
an
about
Operation Sovereign Borders guy saying all the time.
Thank you so much, Food. I love
let me explain to you, right?
As well.
There was never that many anyway.
And
Also, I'm sure you're aware.
At the height, the height, there were tens of thousands of people arriving.
It's about 20,000, yeah. About 20-something thousand.
Yes.
You're also...
and the current arrival is zero.
You're also... Well, it's recorded arrivals are zero.
Raid.
They arrive all the time, according to Michael Hutram. Yeah.
No, Michael Hutram... No,
not to mention...
That is not the case.
Not to mention, it's not the boats didn't actually stop the asylum seeking, did it? Because plane arrivals increased. Didn't they?
The last time a boat made landfall in Australia, it was literally front page news for the whole week.
Why would I take your word on this when you didn't even know that Operation Sovereign Borders didn't make it to zero?
Retard, I'm literally Australian. The last time a boat made landfall in Australia, it was front page news for a full week.
You didn't even know that. You didn't even know that OSB didn't bring it down to zero.
The Murdoch media is obsessed with the boats. Do you think if the boats were arriving, they would not be trying to embarrass the Labour government by constantly pointing that out?
That's a good thing that Operation Sovereign Borders makes it illegal to discuss figures or any facts about the operations. That's why they happen all the time, but we have no figures.
This is such a massive cope, and I know it's a cope because, and let me explain. The last time a boat made landfall in Australia, it was front page news, regardless of the fact that Operation Sovereign Borders, you can't talk about it in the press. It was front page news. Everyone saw it. I saw the visuals of the boat that had made it to Australia. It was front page news in Australia for fucking 5 days. So I would know if it was happening in Australia.
$5 from General Grievous to say, Drew, I'm part Jewish, and I want you to think of the cruel, retarded irony of turning refugees and boats around. This happened in the 30s.
No. I didn't even think about that. Dude. Huh.
They were murdered.
No, it's so different. No, it's not.
Why is it so different?
You're telling me. Okay, I'll explain to you. Because refugees at Calais are safe in France. They're not going to be murdered in France.
This Spurging is kind of boring. Are you kidding me? I love watching this guy in pain. If every day I wake up, brush my teeth, or sorry, I don't brush my teeth in the morning, but if every day I wake up, take a drink of water, take my meds, and I spend all day watching Drew Pavlou spurging out, making a little mockery of himself, that is a good day. And every day I will do it because it makes me happy. And I'll do it for the rest of my life because it'll give me a good life watching Drew Pavlou in pain. Okay, that's it.
So it's about safety. So which safe country can an Afghan refugee or people going to Australia? What safe country? What refugee safe country can they go to before Australia?
The first safe country that they get to, they should stay in.
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking you. Indonesia. Is Indonesia party to the Refugee Convention?
Indonesia, they're safe in Indonesia.
Wait, answer that question. Is Indonesia party to the Refugee Convention?
Indonesia, they're safe in Indonesia.
It's not a safe country. They go into detention centers and they rot and they get tortured. It's not a safe country for asylum seekers. There's actually, between the countries that they come from and Australia, that's why, which one is a refugee safe country?
Well,
there aren't ones.
They shouldn't be coming to
Australia.
The first country.
So you don't care. So you don't care about them going to a safe country. You just want them out of.
I used to like bully the retard content, but I'm getting tired of it. The Drews, the Gibbs, the Norse. No. This is a little bit different. Okay. I don't like content where it's just like bullying some random fucking person with Down syndrome. All right, like Queenman did back in the day. Okay, that was some unhinged shit. Okay, but like this is just like this guy was spouting off in multiple debates, uncontested with his conservative opinions. All right, nobody gave him enough pushback. Period. Okay? Nobody gave him any pushback. Not So Erudite didn't give him enough pushback. Dylan Burns did not give Drew Pavlou enough pushback. All right? I'm sorry. Okay? This is cathartic. All right? He got to have his say in so many debates, in so many conversations. All right? And was treated with such good faith. Okay? By Twitch poll motherfuckers. Okay? Yes. Okay, this is deserved. This isn't repetitive bullying where it feels unfair or it feels mean or it feels icky, right? This is the final culmination of all this pent up sexual energy releasing all at once in a big bucket load of cum.
Your country. Just say that. Just say you are happy to let them fucking rot in Indonesian detention centers where they have no future, no asylum, no processing, nothing, fucking subject to all kinds of criminal gangs, smugglers, human traffickers. You are fine with that. So
New impatient Dairy Storms just dropped. Can you link it to me, please, on Discord? Discord.gg/Foodshops. Thank you. Wait, also, be right back. I can go to the bathroom. Okay. Quick break. Let's see. What do I put on while here, you guys can just
as long as they don't come to Australia. It's 20,000 a year. Kill yourself, you fucking prick. Jesus Christ.
Oh, you're fucking retarded. You're actually mentally ill. It's not
I don't know why you're lying to.
It's not my responsibility.
Yes, just say that.
It's not my responsibility in Australia to take in random. It's not my responsibility in Australia to randomly take in refugees.
Good, just say that. Yeah, then don't pretend to care about them going to a safe country.
Well, if they're, I want them to go to a safe country.
Well, no, you don't, because the closest safe country for those ones, the closest safe country from Rohingya is Australia. That's the closest safe country.
Well, no, that's actually not true. China's a party to the refugee convention. They can go to China.
A Uyghur that
Rohingya Muslims can go to China.
Persecuted in China and is trying to feel
Fuck me.
Uyghur genocide. Where should they go?
Like you said.
Hey, was he talking about Uyghur Muslims going to China? Oh my god.
Australia is the closest country with
Drew.
Laos
What?
Cambodia is a country with it.
Answer
Sorry,
my
did
question.
I miss that?
Yeah.
A Uyghur Muslim fleeing the genocide in China. Should they go?
I would let Uyghur Muslims. I would let Uyghur Muslims in because I like them.
Yeah, because they're enemies of the people you don't like.
Dude, oh my god. That's okay, cool. This guy's unserious. This guy's not a serious person, dude. This guy's not a real person. Jesus Christ.
That's why.
Yeah,
but not Rohingya Muslims who are being murdered by
I-
China, which arms Myanmar. By Myanmar, which arms China.
We can take in some limited numbers of Rohingya Muslims, and we actually have taken in tens of thousands of Rohingya Muslims in Australia.
Yeah, but you support blocking them. You support turning their boats back and tugging them over to Indonesia and potentially drowning them as well, because you do acknowledge that people have drowned in these operations, right?
Here, me too.
You do acknowledge that, right?
Because
In
my
pushbacks,
feelings
some people fall over and drown, right? You
is
acknowledge
just
that.
so
More
right.
people
I can't
drowned.
sing. I'm sorry, I
more people
cannot sing.
drowned just
Okay,
on the
never
journey to
mind.
Australia than with regards to the pushbacks. More people drowned as a result of making the dangerous journey in the first place. So the
But
actual
they're going to make they're going to make the journey anyway. That's why Operation Sovereign Borders exists. It exists to pull people back who are making the journey.
People smugglers are trying to human traffic. The people smugglers must not be allowed to do that. They're putting people's lives at risk by putting them on these extremely dangerous boats, and you think that it's fine to just allow these people to keep on coming and create the incentive for the boats to keep on continuing.
The incentive is that the
incentive. You're creating the incentive. You're creating the incentive. You're creating the incentive.
No.
You're creating the incentive.
Well done. Yes. Well done. You realize that when I talk, it's not just to repeat the same thing 3 or 4 times in a row. I don't know why you're wasting so much fucking space to try and do that. The other incentive.
You're wasting
I'm sorry. Was I interrupting?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Honor, finish your point, and then Drew can respond uninterrupted. Go ahead.
The actual incentive
Hello, Foodshops. Foodshops, are you reading this? No.
is that it's either risk your life on a boat or it's stay in Indonesia and also risk your life and being a fucking
Indonesia
kept
is
in a
safe.
dungeon.
Indonesia is fine.
It's not
Indonesia
safe.
is fine.
It's
It is
fine.
much. It is okay. An Afghan refugee is much safer in Indonesia than they are in Afghanistan.
in an Indonesian
100%.
detention center.
No,
So they should to you would rather they stayed in Indonesian detention centers.
Tell Indonesia to reform their policy. Then I encourage Indonesia to take in more
so
refugees.
not your
they're
problem.
they're the largest Muslim majority country on earth.
Okay, that's it. I've had enough of Drew. Mods, send in P. Diddy.
They should take in more Muslim refugees.
Yeah, so not your problem, right?
It's not Australia's problem. Ask Indonesia to reform their policy.
And if they don't, just leave them there. Leave them to rot.
No, it's not my responsibility to take in the entire.
Why are you saying no? Why can't you own a position? You literally would rather these people get fucking tortured in Indonesian detention centers than come to Australia. You'd rather that. You prefer that.
You're mental. You see Indonesia torturing people, and your idea is not to tell Indonesia to reform that policy. Your policy is instead to go, no, Australia, take them in. No, tell Indonesia to reform their policy.
So in the time, so between the time
Indonesia
it takes,
should take in more Muslim refugees.
between
Indonesia should take in more Muslim refugees.
so between the time it takes to actually get Indonesia to reform, do they come to Australia or not?
No, you should.
So you'd rather they get tortured? Thank you. Yes. I don't know why you can't own that.
No.
I don't know why you can't own that.
No, Indonesia is the.
Sorry. Okay, that's racist. I'm sorry. Okay.
If Indonesia carries out atrocities, that's Indonesia's moral.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why. But you would rather they did that than them come to Australia. Those are your 2 choices.
No, that's
No,
not.
I have a question for you, Drew, just real quick.
There's not a third option.
So in
buddy.
Indonesia, hold on, stop, all of you,
He's saying that I should dissolve the border of Australia because Indonesia has bad policies. His idea is that we should dissolve the entire border.
Isn't that the whole point of refugees? Is that they flee countries that they can't take care of?
An Indonesian, a refugee, arrives at your shores and arrives at your door, right? And if you don't let them in, they're going to be sent to these Indonesian torture prisons. Do you have a moral responsibility to let them in?
That is not at all the actual moral responsibility. That is not actually a realistic moral scenario. That's not true. It's not. That is not what is happening.
A Jewish
is what's
person
happening.
fleeing the Nazis, okay, and they arrive at your door. Do you have a
Indonesia
moral
is not carrying out a
responsibility to let them
Holocaust.
in?
Indonesia is not carrying out a Holocaust, dude. Indonesia is not the Holocaust. Indonesia is not Nazi Germany. It is the largest.
My God, this guy is such a wanker, dude. What an absolute fucking, like, actual fucking wanker, dude. Holy shit. Like, this guy is actually so fucking shameless with everything that he says.
Muslim majority country on earth, and it is a democracy. Tell Indonesia to change their policies.
But until they do change their policy, would you rather they stayed in those detention centers?
No, until your idea is that until Indonesia reforms its policies, that Australia should have open borders. No,
Australia should have vetting. Do you acknowledge that, by the way, almost over 80% of small boat arrivals from Australia succeeded in their asylum applications? They were legitimate. Of course they were. They came from Syria and Iran and Afghanistan and Iraq and Yemen. And of course they had successful applications. They were legitimate refugees, every single one of them.
It's still 20% failed. 20% were just literally random economic.
It was like 12% that failed, and they got deported.
It's like yeah, good. I hope they are deported.
Why do you care? Why is that your instinct to? What about the other ones? Is it bad that they stay?
Wait, hold on. Why is that good? I'm sorry? Like, let's just say that you're legitimately fleeing from some, like, fucking cartel, or you're, like, fleeing from some tyrannical regime, and you're being prosecuted for your beliefs, but somehow, due to some technical error, or you didn't pass the bar enough, you were, essentially, you didn't pass, and you're gonna be deported. Why the hell is your first instinct to say good? Like, I think that is the most telling part. I think that is literally the most telling part, okay? The fact that Drew Pavlou says good at people being turned away, I'm sorry, but I'm not even sure if all of them are, like, dangerous criminals or, like, game bangers or people who are keen to terrorize the populace or anything like that. Like, I really doubt, like, 12% of the people who apply for asylum are terrorists or criminals. That's ridiculous. That's such a high number, if true. Okay? Is there no, like, false positives? Or false negatives? Like, I think that's so telling. God, he's such a racist scumfuck, dude. Holy shit. Because he's being evil rather than pragmatic, yeah. And also, like, by the way, this is like, you're racist at the detriment to your country, right? Because, like, the benefits of immigration is so overwhelming. Like, it shouldn't even be a debate. The vast majority of the time, it shouldn't be a debate, right? Immigrants improve your culture, improve the food, improve. They take up the jobs that other people aren't willing to have. They're willing to have lower standards, so then, like, you can convince them to have, like, crappier jobs. In addition, like, I don't know, it's just good to take in people who are struggling. They improve the economy. They diversify the market. Like, there's just so many good things for having immigrants. I don't, dude, whatever, I give up.
Look, if they followed if they did end up getting vetted and they were not a threat to anybody, then I'm okay with them being here.
But these are the people that you want to push back on the boat.
Like, just think about it. The most powerful countries in the world are immigration heavy, okay? You cannot be the most powerful country in the world or one of the most powerful countries in the world and be anti-immigration. These two things are not together, okay? Having a ton of immigrants, like, objectively, like, improves a bunch of shit. China's quite restrictive, no? Yeah, and China has issues. But also, I don't even think that's entirely true. Just mainly because I think there's like 800,000 black people in China or some crazy number. Fuck me. Like, I don't even know if that's true. Hold on. China. Immigration over time. Because I'm pretty sure it's more and more. Especially with how capitalistic the state is. Yeah. Not sure.
Well, we have to have a policy that is strict.
Oh. Dude. No, it would not make sense for China to be more and more restrictive. Because I think that most of all, it tries to maximize like its fucking market growth potential, okay? Because China suffers from the same issue that a lot of other East Asian countries suffer from, which is issues concerning gender proportions and femicide, aborting babies just because they're female. Yeah, like in the past, right? It ran also on the one-child policy, which is again, these are all unique to China, by the way. They're all unique to China. So, yeah, again, to compare China with any other country is also kind of like weird, I guess. Like I would be comfortable comparing Korea, like South Korea, with Japan. I'm okay with that. But the thing is that with China, like the population is so vast, and the amount of land mass is so vast, and there's just so much you have to keep in mind. Like, I'm sorry, yeah, it's just like it has, even though it suffers from a lot of similar issues, like it is unique in its problems as well. And it's not a democracy.
So that more people don't come into the future.
So you don't want the people on small boats who succeeded in application. You'd rather they had not made it.
No, well, the people that already made it, then we have to process them, but we want to try to stop them from coming in the future.
But it would be better. It'd be better if they hadn't made it. It'd be better if they got fucked in Yemen, right? Or stayed in Iraq, or stayed in Afghanistan.
Well, it would be better if random foreigners who, if they found safe asylum in another country.
Obviously, it would be better if they found safe asylum in another country, but obviously they didn't. That's why they end up in Australia.
They could go to Cambodia. Cambodia is a signatory to the UN Convention. They should have done that.
Cambodia for what? Rohingya Muslims.
Yeah, it's close.
It's like saying that you might as well be saying that they could take, like, Muslims are fine going to China because they're part of the Refugee Convention.
But Cambodia is a party to the Refugee Convention, and it's right next to Myanmar, so they can.
Do you think Rohingya Muslims can't flee China because China's party to the Refugee Convention? Like, why would they need to flee?
I'm offering Cambodia as a safe asylum, dude. It's right next to Myanmar.
Why do you think they don't stay in Cambodia?
They want to come to Australia because it's a wealthier country than Cambodia.
Are you sure?
A lot of the cases, yes.
Can you think of any other reasons?
Yeah, Australia's a more attractive country than Cambodia. I'm aware of that fact.
That's not the only reason, okay? Like, Cambodia is also quite rough on Rohingya Muslims, but whatever.
Okay, they could go.
Okay, I think we've.
Papua New Guinea in the offshore processing centers.
Well, Papua New Guinea is party to the conventions.
I don't even know any of this shit. Like, dude, can you imagine getting stuck in a foreign policy debate with Lonerbox? Oh my god, dude.
So they could go to Papua New Guinea potentially.
Have you seen how people were treated in Papua New Guinea from the offshore processing? Australia paid for that, by the way.
How does he know any of this? How does he even memorize any of this?
Because Australia is basically paying these countries to take the load off them, basically. That's actually a problem as well. Is like when you are trying to send someone who's coming to your border away, you kind of need the consent of the other country to do it. That's why
Dude, Lonerbox legitimately knows more history of specific fucking countries in the world than someone who is coming from that same country. Dude, fuck me. Dude, I give up content creation, okay? It's over for me. I can't match up to this.
Said you care about people smugglers. Well, we know that Operation Sovereign Borders people, because of whistleblowers, have actually been paying smugglers just to take people back, because it's otherwise they might just stay in the middle of the sea and drown. We know that when Australia was trying to offshore process people in Nauru and Manus Island, we know that when people Australia, I'm not finished. We know that when Australia was trying to process people in Nauru and Manus Island, they had to pay for that to happen. It actually cost them millions of dollars per person to keep them there. They could have. It was more expensive than putting them in a fucking 5-star hotel in Australia. And what was the result of that again? Where are most of those asylum seekers now? Oh, they had to get medically evacuated to Australia. They're in Australia right now. It was a fucking failure.
Look, at the end of the day, it did stop overall the boats, though, because and
that's what matters. Yeah, that's what matters. Keep them out. Yeah, I know. I understand.
Well, the good thing is that there are no large-scale migrant movements through offshore boats. That's a good thing. Australia was able to stop that. I'm happy that they did.
Even though the number was completely compensated by the number of plane arrivals and asylum claims.
Yeah, but
turns out that when people are fleeing, they'll find a way. I'm sorry, like it's just what happens.
But here's the thing, Lonerbox. I don't want the plane arrivals either. So you're trying to be like, oh
yeah, but how do you stop someone coming on a temporary visa and then saying I can't leave? Sorry.
Deport people to countries they're fleeing.
It's been about 3 hours.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Lonerbox. A lot of the time, they're just economic migrants who are lying about.
No, majority of them, like you said, like you acknowledged earlier, you admitted, majority of them succeed in their applications. They were successful because they were valid refugees.
Here's what we're gonna do.
No,
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna read these last 2 super chats, and we're gonna get closing statements, and then we're gonna go because I'm tired and it's been 3 hours. It's past my bedtime. Okay.
Kill me.
And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So real quick, $5 from Super Platano Man. I can't believe Drew went from supporting Uyghurs in China. I wonder how those Muslims feel about him becoming Tommy Robinson. And then 10 pounds from Freshly Exhumed to say, here in Britain, we have assimilated many different cultures, Chinese, Indian, Irish, Polish, African, Caribbean, just to name a few. I see no reason why we can't do it again. Thank you for the 10 pounds. And with that, if you've enjoyed the show, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to give closing thoughts to each of these people. What we got coming up, tomorrow I'm going to do call-ins. So if you have a problem with anything I've said, just call in and we'll talk about it. On Thursday, we're going to have a discussion on which party has a better solution to young men's issues, Republicans or Democrats. Should be a fun debate. And on Friday, we're going to be talking about the Youth Republican group chat leaks. We're going to have Lactoid. We're going to have a few others on to discuss whether or not those matter, and we should be concerned. Okay, with that said, I'm going to give first to Lonerbox. I'm going to let Drew have the last word. So remember, I got links to both these people in the YouTube description. Please click on these links. They've been kind enough to give us content today, so be kind enough to follow them. Lonerbox, closing thoughts, and then Drew.
Usually when I have these immigration debates, I expect to get into the kind of standard, there's a concern there, obviously. Some of these concerns are legitimate, like demographic change does have impacts, like it does cause some issues, it causes some challenges for nations, especially when we've had net migration like we had in the unprecedented numbers of the last 2 years. Usually these kind of debates go in a way of like reassuring people that you can't just come to the UK and claim benefits or get a council house. For the work salaries now,
that's what's happening. That is literally what's happening.
No, it's not. You just don't understand how time works. I'm going to finish my statement. The salary requirement now for the UK is something like 40k for a work visa. It's which is quite high for the UK. Not to mention that care worker visas and student visas, they used to allow you to bring dependents. They don't anymore. And all these visas basically mean you have to pay an NHS surcharge, so you have to fund the NHS, even though you're young and you're basically never going to use it. We have a pretty robust immigration system. I think Keir Starmer has actually gone quite, he's given the right, like basically every sensible thing they would ask for. He's made it so that you need to earn quite a lot. You need to have a very high education standard, like up to a degree level, even for a non-degree job. They've closed a lot of these vacancy jobs. You can no longer earn anything below the going rate for any job that you're in, even if there's a shortage. Our asylum process is being tightened up to the point that vetting has been expanded.
Dude, look how mad this guy is. Holy shit. Oh, his mauled.
We've got deals with France that's already done more and helped with more removals than was ever achieved from the Rwanda gimmick. So normally I'm expecting things like this, reassuring people that crime rates from foreigners aren't actually as high as people think they are, or reassuring people that the number of illegal crossings is actually far lower. It's like only 4% of all immigration. The rest of it is completely legal, and they have to cross through, tick a bunch of boxes, pay a bunch of fees, answer a bunch of questions, give a bunch of reassurances. I did not expect a debate on whether or not
there has to be better Australian representation in this space. Holy cow. Dude, Australian stonks low, dude. It's over. Like, dude, there has to be better Australian representation. There has to be better representation than Drew Pavlou. But August is not on the big screen.
We can just deport people en masse because they answer polling questions about, I thought the Second Intifada was like slightly based. That's kind of insane. I can't imagine the problem that we would have if we just decided to make what would easily be millions of people stateless and just leave them wandering the earth looking for something to do. Typically, statelessness is bad. Bin Laden was made stateless. Stateless refugee camps, people in Syria and in the Rohingya camps in Bangladesh. By the way, most of these countries, these are the countries that take most of the refugees. Most of the refugees in the world are in places like Iran, Bangladesh. They're in Jordan, like Turkey. They're in neighboring countries. The people who come to Europe and Australia are a tiny minority of the world's refugees. As the wealthy countries of the world, as the countries that at one point in time made a lot of our wealth off of exploiting the rest of the planet, I think it is it's a fairly modest humanitarian thing that we.
You hate white people.
No, it's a modest humanitarian thing because the alternative is that.
Dude, Drew, can you just please let him finish his statement? Just please shut the fuck up, okay?
If you just abandon these people, which is exactly what you're proposing, then you have stateless people everywhere. Stateless people are not good. Stateless people are dangerous. Stateless people are the easiest people in the world to recruit and radicalize for missions, etc. ISIS thrived off of people who were made stateless by the Syrian civil war and by the conflicts in Afghanistan and around the Middle East. Like those groups love statelessness.
You gotta let him go. You will get your own closing statement.
God, he's mauling. God, this absolute shameless piece of shit grifter. This absolute inbred moron. Racist. Fucking cringe loser. Absolute fucking degenerate. Absolute scum of the earth. Fucking cringe lord. Oh my god! I hate this guy.
Is true.
To answer the question about safe first country, the reason that exists nowhere in the Refugee Convention, and actually the reason the Refugee Convention says, it quite clearly acknowledges that there should be international cooperation on the issue of burden sharing, is because if you just allow the neighboring country to take in and force them to take in all the asylum seekers from whatever crisis or war is happening next door, then you are actually imposing massive, arbitrary, disproportionate burdens on single countries. The only way that we can deal with the issue of global refugees is by sharing is by taking a share of the burden, because otherwise you have issues of massive buildup of stateless people who are ripe for radical.
That actually kind of makes sense. You have like the world nowadays just seems more interconnected than ever. Like it used to be back then, where like wherever one part of the world is affected, it doesn't really matter because it's like you can't really get to places. There's no such thing as planes. A 20-mile trip would take all day. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the world is way more different now. People can take planes. People can take boats. People will find ways to get to places. And manpower will fill up where there's power vacuums, and extremists would love to indoctrinate or take up extra immigrants. Especially people who are disenfranchised by like the current global order or whatever the fuck, in order to bolster their terrorist like fucking armies, right, or whatever the fuck. Yeah, no, this like that does make sense. So you kind of want to be the one that scoops up like that extra population and like get them into the workforce rather than leave them up to the wolves, because the wolves won't eat them, but they'll turn them also into a wolf, which will then eat other people, right? And cause problems everywhere. Yeah, like for example, like the world is so interconnected that Ukraine doesn't even want to nuke or destroy. By nuke, I mean like destroy, but like they don't want to destroy Russia's shadow fleet, even though I believe that they have the capabilities. They have the capability to do that, I guess. Just simply because it will affect Europe's supply chain back then. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I don't think that's the case anymore, but that used to be in the consideration of like, oh yeah, I don't want to piss off Europeans too much by destroying all this oil supply, and then like down the line it would fuck things up or something, right? That would be in the calculations of the Ukrainians. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Russia pulled the entire Shadow Fleet out of the Black Sea because they were getting smacked. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the same thing with oil pipelines, I believe, when it comes to the Ukraine war, right? The oil pipelines that, you know, aren't really attacked. Yeah. But I believe that's changing, okay? The more desperate you make Ukraine, the more they're willing to resort to stuff that fucks over everyone. So that's why you got to contribute to the war, right? You got to make sure they win. Yeah, I don't know.
Who are ripe for militarization, and generally, just as a humanitarian, it's a good thing to do. That's why Drew is so desperately uncomfortable to admit that he would rather a Rohingya Muslim go into an Indonesian detention center and face conditions tantamount to torture than arrive in Australia.
Their policy, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
Ask Indonesia to reform their policy.
Oh, just ask them. Oh, I forgot we could just ask Indonesia to improve their policy. I forgot about that.
Where can people find you, Lonerbox, if they want to find you?
Sorry, I'm just doing a thing for my chat. Yeah, my name's Lonerbox, Lonerbox Live, YouTube. I talk shit on the internet.
Okay.
Just ask.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And last, appreciate you being on here. Last but certainly not least, Drew Pavlou. Closing thoughts And where can people find you?
He's so mad.
Lonerbox
He's so
has
mad.
an extremely evil and mentally ill, insane ideology. He basically thinks that all nations on the planet, particularly Western nations, though, because they have the burden of colonialism and they must shoulder the burden of historical colonialism. He thinks that basically every Western nation should essentially dissolve itself because of the burden of colonialism. He thinks that it's actually fine and normal to have 40,000 Islamic extremists in Britain who answer polling questions telling them that they actually fully support suicide bombing attacks. When I said that I think people who outright support suicide bombing attacks should be deported, he accused me of being an extremist, not the people who actually want suicide bombing attacks and want to kill us all. According to Lonerbox, there would basically be a mass dissolution of the British nation, and he's fine essentially with, I don't know, Islamic extremists just continuing to grow in strength and organize in Britain with essentially no consequences. And he's just apparently fine with all these people living in Britain as foreigners supporting suicide bombing attacks and Islamic extremist terrorist attacks. It literally does not make any sense. Nothing I've said at all has been extremist. All I've said is that people who outright support open violence against the state, open violence against democracy, the mass killing of religious minorities like Jews, those people should be deported. I'm not talking about ordinary Muslims. I'm talking about outright Islamic extremists, people who literally say that they want suicide bombing attacks and Islamic extremist attacks. There's nothing Tommy Robinson about that. There's nothing extreme right about that. Mine is the moderate position because I'm just simply saying that a moderate goal of the British state should be removing foreign nationals from the country who support suicide bombing attacks and mass murder based on Islamic sectarianism. And I think it's a very normal thing to argue. I think it's very normal to say that it's bad to import Islamic extremist terrorists into your country.
Where can people find you if they want to find you?
I know that the audience will be 99% against me, so no one's going to go to follow me, but it's just at Drew Pavlou.
You know what? It's okay. 99% of the audience is against me too. Okay, like no one hates.
Fine. I will literally speak. Even if I'm the only person in the world with this position, I believe that I am the common sense, normal, moderate person. I think the extreme position is to import people who literally support ISIS into Britain for some reason. Like Lonerbox.
How can it be common sense if you're the only person?
Never appeal to moderates. This is why I say constantly, never appeal to moderates. Okay, if this guy defines himself as a moderate, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, there's no way. Okay, there's just. Oh, appeal to the moderates. Okay. Oh, I got you. Appeal to the moderates. The moderate, bro. Dude, what? Dude. That's
in the world having the opinion.
Well, if the entire world is filled with mentally retarded leftists, then what can you do?
What can you do? Well, thank you both for coming. I do appreciate it. It's been a spirited one. So I do appreciate it, gang.
It was gay.
Lonerbox is literally mentally insane. Lonerbox is literally mentally insane. His ultimate position is essentially the genocide of the West.
Okay, Lonerbox, the Arab, the genocider of the West. And
I didn't say that he's Arab.
Pavlou.
Me and him basically have the same ethnic group. I'm Cypriot. He's Lebanese. We're basically
it's a reference to the Ethan Klein lawsuit, but where they refer to him as the Arab streamer. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I thought he was Israeli. I didn't know.
I love you all. And I'll talk to you guys then. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Take care. Bye-bye. That was all right.
Truly, this is the dankest dungeon.
Brandon, thank you so much for the 2 gifted subs. I appreciate that.
Jesus.
Lonerbox is from Lebanon. I thought he was Israeli. No, he's Lebanese. He's Arab. I think but he's not Muslim though. He's I'm guessing that he's agnostic. I'm guessing because just due to the way that he thinks and stuff like that, it would make sense the most. Oh my god, what an absolute bloodbath. Holy shit. I actually want to hear his thoughts afterwards.
Was I right or was I right?
No, that was fun. What are you talking about? That was very informative. Very good for the soul. Holy shit, that guy. That guy. So are we going to call Loner Jewish going forward? I don't know. Fuck that. You have to hop on VC after that. What, like after stream?
No.
Just
I need Destiny to debate Drew now, dude. Bro, sloppy seconds, dude. Sloppy seconds. A second fucking. Oh no.
That much, wasn't it? I don't know. Sometimes when I see someone just being so like illogical, I don't really know. Get my head around it. Gosh. I'll pay you $1,000 to convert. Isn't that like an incredibly low hourly rate? You want me to go VC on stream? Why? We're gonna have a group chat. Do I really want to have a group therapy session after dealing with that shit? God, the moderate opinion. I don't understand how people can't contend with their dissonances, you know? It's
Sorry.
weird. Spider.
Damn. One.
Is Foodshops just a nonchalant dreadhead? What? Dude, I feel like I spurg out and freak out all the fucking time. No?
Whoever it was definitely doesn't feel like it was me. Hi, Zed. Thanks for this tier 1 sub. Thank you. The gifted sub, I'm sorry.
How long was the combo?
Felt like a few hours, no? 3 hours?
3 hours? Gotta deal with Drew Pavlou?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Ronan, did you catch that in the beginning of the stream, after like he talked about the Manchester sibling, like the South Bronx, he went like, and you rebutted him, went like, you should be grateful for me being a Zionist. You should be grateful for me.
Oh my god, that was the craziest part. Wait, hold on. Can we go back to that part? Holy shit. Okay, so again, for people who do not know, Drew Pavlou essentially said, like, Jewish people should be grateful to him for the things that he has done for Judaism, that he's such a famous person, and that he's such a big deal. Like, dude, wait, let me see if I can find it. Holy shit, that was unhinged. Like, that was like a villain. That was like a super villain monologue that he did. Holy shit, that was crazy. Let me see if I can find it.
Minority in their
Background check. What current
Because that was Kino. That was actually Kino.
restriction on immigration that does not currently exist?
I'm pretty sure the way people identify that. I know the other guy more press say that racial element is not the
have issues
right away for their speech. No.
somebody who wants to kill you, who literally wants to behead you because you're Jewish.
Due to wage inflation.
Lonerbox?
No, you said due to inflation, due to shortage.
Like,
Economy.
Japan is like
Their economy they provided the number of convictions for sexual assault on a female across
and including in indictable crimes are actually they request data, but for the
rising sectarian violence in that society, the massive problem with rising Islamic extremism.
For the context, I can only read the words.
Same rates.
get that from
Actually, let me see. Script? Wait, why do I not have a thumbnail? Wait, I don't have a thumbnail? Okay. It's okay. Whatever. No big deal. Let me see. Israeli, I believe. Oh, this was funny too. Here.
To various degrees, you can understand why a person who is in the current majority might not want to become a minority. Could you understand?
Actually, sorry, I just worked out. I actually didn't realize this Lonerbox. Sorry, I genuinely thought you were Israeli, but you're Lebanese instead. Sorry, I didn't realize.
we all look the same, man.
It's all.
Well,
yeah,
well, I'm Cypriot.
I don't see
I mean,
color.
we're literally
or
Levantine. No, but like we actually literally.
I do want Lonerbox to answer my question though.
What about being a minority?
Yes, you understand why
Dude.
someone who is currently in the majority
Oh
makeup.
my god, what a loser. Okay, alright. Let me see if I can find it. Jewish. my god. Okay, I found it.
It's just going to be on the
On social
This
media
is
over the past couple
Kino.
weeks.
Muslims. I don't suppose in that think tank
No.
that wants to rapidly
No.
destroy. I don't suppose
No.
it's part of that think tank that's about destroying.
Are you mentally ill? You're literally mentally ill. Dude,
I don't
you're mentally
suppose.
ill. I've been.
I don't
Dude,
suppose it's part of that think tank.
Lonerbox,
They convinced you that Muslims commit more murders than whites in the UK, do they?
Lonerbox, you are literally extremely mentally ill because I've actually been one of the highest profile supporters of like Israel's right to exist on social media over the past couple of years. And you're saying, oh, well, you don't care about Jews. You're only doing it because you hate Muslims. No, dude, that's actually extremely offensive. And it's actually really evil of you to say that. How about have some gratitude to me? They're like, look at the world right now. Look at the world right now. Like half of all these people, there are so many young people right now who like
You're not
literally
going to
want
make
to
any
kill
points,
Jews
are you?
everywhere.
This is just going to be an emotional rage.
But have some fucking.
It's always
gratitude
this
because
though. It's
there are
always just
all the-
like
But it's
feelings.
true though. Literally, but dude, have some fucking gratitude. Look at how people have treated the Jews over the past couple of years. I'm actually an ally of the Jewish people, and you're just like, oh, you only care about Jews because you hate Muslims. That's extremely offensive. I put my neck on the line. I got so many death threats from Hamas supporters and stuff like that over the past 2 years. And then you say, oh, you don't care about Jews. You're only doing it because you hate Muslims. That's extremely offensive. Like, how dare you? Honestly,
I mean, you
how dare
literally just
It's
asserted.
extremely
You literally
offensive.
just tried to make it sound like there's like a higher murder problem of Muslims in the UK as well. I don't suppose that your Centre for Migration Control that is definitely not partisan. I don't suppose they gave you stats on that, did they? I thought we were agreeing that in overall crime as well as the more severe crimes that Muslims were about equally represented, slightly more.
That was nuts. Okay, that was unhinged. I told you that he did this. Like, I just, I can't believe he said this. Okay, sorry. He's like literally bragging about like how much good he's doing for the Jewish people by tweeting. Dude, what a loser. Holy shit. Tweeting. Tweeter. Okay, I don't think we have enough time to get into the Hutch stuff, but I can save it for another time. Right? Wait. Alright, last minute. Has there been any